Tell you what, let's see if we've got our caller still on there. I lost him, but we got a little treat in. We got a little walk in here, a little last minute schedule, but it's going to be fun. We've got Chase Elliott at Niangwa's Inn. Of course, you know that is the movie that has come to Lake of the Ozarks. I got Luke in studio as well, and we're just having a conversation. 573-302-7000, and we've had you on several times on the program. It is interesting from the outside looking in. Of course, Gina Goff, and then Bo Shore is involved with the project as well. And tell people where it's at right now, because everybody knows that this movie's in production.
Yeah. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man.
It's been a while.
It's going good. Yeah.
So right now we're really focusing on location scouting, which is a big job. It's a very big job to round up all your locations, get people to agree to let you take over and shoot on their property at their location. So that's the big thing right now that we're focusing on. And the plan right now is to shoot in, the last of August into September is the plan right now. So just getting locations locked. And then once we get that, we can start scheduling with actors and stuff like that. So,
Chase, the process is just fascinating, especially in this story. Let's just lay it out there. 2 high school kids, all of a sudden, of course, now you're not in high school, and you just get this idea, we're going to make a movie.
Yeah. It's, and Bo and I, for both of us, film has always been a passion. And so we did it all through high school and then college as well. And then we were just like, hey, it was really kind of around COVID, and we were like, we haven't done anything, in a while because of COVID and everything. And we had just kind of graduated college. And so we were like, hey, let's do something. Let's make a film, put a little bit of money behind it. And I think, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but we actually shot it twice, the short film. The first time it was literally just Bo and I, and our actors, and that's it. And I think one other crew member or something. And so we decided to do it again, cause it obviously didn't turn out very good when it's just on the fly like that. Put a little money behind it, got people that really knew what they were doing, got a lot of backing behind us, and went out and shot the short film again, and that's the version that you guys saw. So yeah.
How did Niangwa's Inn come about? Why that plot? Why those scenes? Why? I mean,
yeah.
Is it an evolution? What is it?
It kind of is. Bo grew up on the Little Niangwa side over where the short film takes place. And, we would take friends and take girls and stuff out on the Little Niangwa on jet skis. And
it's a different lake over there.
It is. It's calm. It's very different. And so one day, Bo, we were trying to think of we had different ideas and stuff for shorts and stuff we wanted to make. And like I said, it was during COVID, so we were trying to do something. And and he says, that Little Niangwa arm that we go down, wouldn't it be cool? Like, just imagine if you were on the run from the authorities or the police, or you committed a crime or something. Like, that's where I'd want to go. Down there, no one would find you down there, especially if there was a place like a shack or a cabin or something for you to stay in. And I thought, yeah, that's a really good idea. And then I have 3 brothers. He has a brother and a sister. And so the, sibling love is a big aspect of it. Like, bringing the aspect of not only like, someone getting in trouble and going down to Niangwa, but like if that were your brother or someone that, you love dearly that is in that situation, how would you react to that? And so that's, that kind of gave us the basis, and we wrote the short film, filmed the short film, and then had the basic outline for the feature. And then there's 4 versions of the feature that we wrote. Each version has like 3 or 4 drafts. So a lot of lot of versions.
What's it like to write 4 versions? What's it like to be in that position that this is your baby. This is what you've written, and people go, you need to change this. You need to do this. You need to do that, and you go, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's and it's weird because I've written a lot of things, but I've never written anything knowing that we were going to shoot it, and so it's different because I'm having to keep a lot of stuff in mind that I've never had to think about before, like budget or actors' schedules, or the fact that we're going to be shooting over a month instead of over a weekend. So, you have to think about a bunch of different things.
You had to think about day 10.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
do we do on day 10?
Exactly. So that really, I think the first version was kind of like, here's us writing this without thinking about those things. And then, Gina read it, and we knew that there was other directions and ways that, things we wanted to do with it. And she was like, okay, like, we do have a budget and we do have, things that we have to keep in mind. And so, so it was really just honing it in so that it's the story we want to tell. It's a compelling story, and it fits in the budget and everything. So
checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, it has to check a lot of boxes. It really does.
Before we go to break, take a minute. Just tell the story. What is the story about?
Yeah. So the story follows Owen and Ollie Manning. They're brothers, and their father mysteriously passed away. The sheriff concluded it as a suicide, but they're not quite sure if that's the case. They think the story maybe goes a little deeper than that. And so the story is really these two brothers figuring out what happened to their father, how he, if he was killed, if it really was suicide. And throughout the course of the story, I don't want to give too much away, but Ollie, the older brother, finds out who did kill his father,
which is Bo.
Bo is Ollie. Yep. He finds out who really did kill his brother, and basically the guy that killed his father ends up dying, and Bo or Ollie gets framed for his murder. And so he has to take refuge down the Niagara River, and the entire, obviously police are after, sheriffs are after him. The family of the guy that he murdered is after him. And so there's a lot of people who are trying to get to him.
Absolutely. We're talking At Niangua's Inn with Chase Elliott. Luke Hagedorn in studio as well. I'm Tony Herman. We're going to be right back, and we're going to continue this discussion on what is a great movie. While we're on break, look it up online. Watch the short real quick.
For years, scientists have toiled to make the perfect pizza. That's why other pies contain so many additives, fillers, and dough conditioners. Forget about it. Pizza making is an art. Papo's recipes were created in his own kitchen, not a science lab. With crushed tomatoes, freshly shredded real dairy cheese, and a hard-baked crust. Whether you dine in, get delivery, or carry out, Papo's quality never varies because Papo is always watching. To order, go to papospizzeria.com.
COMC is offering a Dental Assistant Academy. This 8-week course starts June 10th. Students receive dental assisting training locally instead of having to travel. Upon completion of the program, students will be ready for testing to receive certification for Missouri dental assisting skills. This entire program is paid by COMC and Delta Dental, 100% free to the student. Learn more at centralozarks.org. Central Ozarks Medical Center. Your health is their mission.
Want to listen to News Talk KRMS, but you're out of our signal area? Not a problem. If you have a smartphone, Alexa, Google Play, or a computer, you have a radio. Just download the KRMS app for your phone. Enable the skill on your smart speaker, or just go to krmsradio.com on your computer. Live internet streaming is sponsored by Anna Marie Hopkins with Smarter Move Real Estate Group, powered by Ozark Realty. Visit asmartermove.com. Listen to your favorite local programs now anywhere in the world. We're at your service. News Talk KRMS.
Happy campers get away with A-OK RVs. AOKRVs.com. RV sales, both new and used. Service parts and propane too. Family owned, no commission sales. The friendly people who really care. Go on and get away with Lake of the Ozarks. AOKRVs.com.
Join Paul Hannigan and Bob Rankin this Saturday morning for the Outdoor Show at 8 and the Sweet Spot Golf Show at 9. Both shows will feature live guests with tips from local pros, the word on local and national tournaments, and giveaways. 2 shows about what we do best at the lake, hunting, fishing, and golf. It's Paul Hannigan and Bob Rankin with the Outdoor Show and the Sweet Spot Golf Show this Saturday morning from 8 until 10 on News Talk KRMS.
This weekend, it's the April In-Water Boat Show at Dog Days at the 19-mile marker. Friday, April 19th through Sunday, April 21st, with boats, boating accessories, and all brands of new 2024 personal watercraft, tri-tunes, runabouts, high-performance boats, luxury yachts, and more, all in the water and ready to fire up. Get more info at ozarkboatshow.com. Register for a free $1,000 gas giveaway at the show. The Lake of the Ozarks Marine Dealers April In-Water Boat Show at Dog Days, April 19th through 21st.
When severe weather threatens our area, get the information you need from News Talk KRMS. We utilize the latest technology to analyze impending weather as it approaches our area. Our meteorologists prepare you for anything from ice and snow to severe thunderstorms or worse. Our severe weather coverage is sponsored by California Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in California. Visit CaliforniaChrysler.com to see their new and used inventory. Listen for severe weather updates from News Talk KRMS.
It's coffee! We need coffee!
Have that first cup of coffee with all the information you need.
Better. Much better.
Talk with local Lake area newsmakers on the Morning Magazine, starting at 9. News Talk KRMS.
At Niangles Inn, everybody do your homework. Go online and watch the short. And good film. I really enjoyed the short. And then the question that comes up into my mind when I watched it, and keep in mind, I know absolutely nothing about movies or film industry or anything like that. I just know where the popcorn is. But it's why the time of year? For whatever reason, that consumes me. I think it really lends to the story. You know, kind of a fall, kind of the leaves falling, and you're trying to get away and move around and be low key.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what's better than the Lake of the Ozarks in the fall? You know, it's beautiful. The trees are breathtaking. It's a beautiful area in general, but in the fall, it's like, you know, take it up a notch. You know, it's amazing, and you know, it looks beautiful on camera, and really the story is kind of about change, and it's about things falling out of whack and falling out of the norm, and so you know, so if you want to get into the weeds of the story, it fits the story well too, and just the overall color scheme and the stuff, you know, what we're going for. It also fits the time period because it takes place when the lake is starting to die down, kind of after the shootout. So you know, it makes sense with that aspect of it too. But,
I mean, it just seems like the long sleeve flannel shirt fits in more with the storyline than board shorts.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Chase, you know, the reason, you know, you're here today or in town, you know, like you said, working on some location scouting, you know, that's why we brought you on the air. But you're not here full time. You're spending some time in Atlanta working in the industry, and kind of splitting your time between working on your own project, but also you got to pay the bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk about what you've been doing in Atlanta, and why is the film industry in Georgia so robust right now?
Yeah. So I've lived in Atlanta for about 2.5 years now. And I love
Great
it.
Town.
Yeah. I you know, I don't live right in Atlanta. I live kind of outskirts, Hiram area. But yeah, it's the second Hollywood. It really is. It's if you don't want to go to California, but you still want to be in the film industry, you go to Atlanta, really. And there's a lot of work going on out there. And it's crazy because I moved out there and obviously I thought, I'm gonna have to get a regular job while I'm working my way up, but not at all. There was so much work to be had out there that I moved out there, and probably 3 weeks later I was on a movie. And so that's it. It's crazy. It's very busy out there for sure.
Yeah, folks might be surprised at how often you go watch a movie, and it was done in Atlanta. Like a lot of the Marvel movies, you know, there's a couple different franchises that film out there, and I'll listen to podcasts with some of these actors, and they always tell these stories. Oh, I had to spend the summer in Atlanta and blah blah. It's more and more because of the tax credits, because of other opportunities there, and they've just kind of built a kind of a culture up. And how cool is it you guys are coming back home to film something here, and you talk about Owen and Ollie. Those are two characters, but the lake itself is almost a character in this movie as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's and we're kind of doing the opposite of Ozark in a way. We're going from Atlanta to back to Missouri, and because it's even like Ozark, they did a pretty good job making it kind of look like the lake, but it wasn't the lake. I mean, and people that live here, you can look at the trees and those aren't Missouri trees. Those are Georgia trees.
I used to tell people, I go, it's a good series, but it doesn't have much to do with us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it really does, especially in most of the lake, most of the areas. You can argue like, okay, yeah, there's parts of the lake that are kind of like that, but there's a lot more that the lake area has to offer, and so that's something that we want to show off. Really all sides of the lake. We have the kind of poor side of the lake, but then we also have the rich side of the lake, and we show everything, and that's that was very important to us from the get-go. And so yeah, that's it. But yeah, Georgia's a great place, just because of their tax incentives, which Missouri just implemented, which is why we're able to shoot in Missouri. Yes. Because Missouri implemented tax incentive like similar to what Georgia has.
What does that mean? What does that mean for people? So
basically, the state of Missouri gives us, very good tax, refunds on what we shoot in Missouri. And Gina, our producer, is really the best person to ask about that. But it saves us a little bit of money, which is great. We get a return of money from the state, and in turn what we're doing is we're providing jobs to people. We're providing money to locations and giving people opportunity.
They give you a break on that based on
that. And so they give us the little tax break based on that.
We talked about two guys coming up with an idea during an unprecedented time in our nation's history, being COVID, and then it went from an idea to paper. Then it came time to go, listen, does this have any legs? Does this have any possibilities? And I think that would be where somebody like Gina came into play.
Yeah, Gina. So Gina originally is from Jefferson City and spent a lot of time at the lake. When she was younger, and moved to LA. I think in the late '90s, and so she's been out there since then. And she was sent the short film very, very basically as soon as we released it back in December of 22. And she tells a story, she thought, she gets sent shorts all the time. She was like, I'll watch a couple minutes of it, give it a like, and move on. But she watched the whole thing and really enjoyed it, really loved it. And it's kind of funny, she sent us a DM on Instagram, and our @9 was an Instagram page, and Bo and I were like, okay, I don't know if this is real. There's pictures of her with William Shatner. I don't know, like this maybe. And then she sent us an email, and we hopped on Zoom and had a bunch of Zoom meetings and conversations and everything, and we were still in the process of writing the feature. So she read version 1. From the get-go, she read the very first version, but then version 2 was really the version that brought it to close to where it's at now. And so she's truly been in basically from the beginning, right when we released the short film. So she's wonderful.
Chase, throughout this process, is there anything that's really is there one thing that's kind of stood out to you as surprising, or maybe a challenge that you didn't anticipate, or maybe something that went more smoothly than you anticipated? Is there anything that you've learned so far in this process that maybe you didn't know coming into it?
Everything.
Brother, I can relate.
I've worked on a lot of features, in different crew positions, but I've never directed a feature before. So so there was a lot of things that I didn't know, a lot of things that I've had to learn as we go along. And it's really cool. It's very cool because now I feel like, I can, working on some of these other features and stuff, I understand way more than just, what's kind of in my typical crew position, which is grip and electric. And
explain to the folks what that means.
Yeah. So, with film, everyone thinks lights, camera, action. Lights, that's a big job, is lighting, and not only lighting, but also shadows and darkness. It's hard to make something completely dark, and it's hard to give shadows shape and everything,
and still see people.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's a whole job in and of itself. And so that's what I do full time in Atlanta is lighting, basically.
And a good way to think of that out there is the old Western, because they'd always be by a campfire, and you could see the people, but it's pitch black outside.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a good example of maybe what you do, and you go, how do you see those people? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you have to make something look like it's being lit without making it look like it's being lit. Make it look natural, and that's a good. It's very hard to light a nighttime exterior scene. It's very hard to light something like that. So a lot of times they do put a fire or something there, so that it's like, okay, well, there's a little bit of light at least, But that's what I do. Other than that, though, I think a big challenge is, Missouri's been out of the film game for a while now, and it doesn't really have the infrastructure that, like Georgia does, for instance. And so I would say that has been a challenge, just finding people in the area and just.
Were we ever in the film game? I don't know.
Yeah, so there was a tax incentive. There was a tax incentive for a while in Missouri, probably 15 years ago or so, and then it ended, and we've been out of it since. I mean, even then there wasn't a ton of film shot here, obviously, but there were some.
Well, and there's the Frank and Jesse James movie that they shot down here, where they were jumping horses off the cliff over there near the 21-mile marker. That's
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a.
I didn't know that.
Oh man, that's a whole different radio program, Tony.
Yeah. That's a crazy story. Yeah, we will not be running horses off any cliffs in this for sure.
Please don't.
But that's a really cool story. It's not. It's an awful story, but.
It's an interesting bit of trivia about the lake and the tie to the film industry.
It really is.
I can see why they want to keep that quiet.
Yeah, for sure.
Chase, we talked about the movie. We talk about some of the inside, the outside of it. We're talking a little bit about your life. And just so, I mean, it seems you're staying busy and you're going from one project to the next project. And in this project, I do this, and another project, I may do something else.
Yeah. And that's something that, being in Missouri, I had to learn. I had to dip my toes in every single aspect of film, because here, if you want to do anything in the industry, you kind of have to know a little bit of everything. And so when I got out to Georgia, it was really interesting to me that there are people who have one job and that's what they do.
Yeah.
Because that's not how it is here. But the good thing about that is it taught me a little bit about every position. And so, as a director, it's vitally important to know that, you don't have to be an expert at every position, but I think you do need to know a little bit about everything. And so, and that's, even in Georgia, I do grip and electric, but there's a lot of other positions I do as well. I work a lot on camera side. I've done production assistant positions. So that's, it's important to work in every aspect and everything.
So you're back looking for locations.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen? What are you still looking for?
Seen a lot of cool things. A lot of locations I've never seen before. which is super cool. Growing up here, I thought I've seen everything, but you can't really see everything here. Like it's pretty.
That's what I thought. That's what popped into my mind.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like hidden gems that you know. I might be talking to someone and they're like, "Hey, have you seen this?" And no, I actually haven't. And there's a lot of those things we put in the movie too. A lot of cool Easter eggs that only people who live here know. And I think that's really going to lend itself to, to the validity of this actually being shot at the Lake of the Ozarks. It's going to make a lot of people that live here happy, where other projects didn't because they weren't shot here.
I remember in Ozark, we just talked about how it didn't have that much to do with us, but I did like how they did, Church on the Water, things that really did happen, how they spent a lot of time on, this town, and this town. And so it sounds like you're going to have that as well.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to do another segment on that. If you got a question for Chase, 573-302-7000.
Here's Mark Alford, U.S. Representative from Missouri's 4th District, speaking on the floor of Congress in favor of AM radio.
I love AM radio. You see, AM radio is an essential platform for listeners who rely on crucial updates, on weather patterns, market shifts, agricultural news. It's also a vital platform for emergency information. Stations like KRMS. AM radio is there for a reason. It's there to operate in the public interest, and that's exactly what it does. And I want my AM radio.
Those new cyber trucks are out on the road, but there might already be a problem. A California man went viral over the weekend showing how the accelerator in his truck got stuck and kept the vehicle going full speed.
It's got something to do with the accelerator pedal.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says they're aware of it and have been in touch with Tesla. There are reports that Tesla has paused its deliveries of the truck, but the company hasn't commented publicly. The Library of Congress has announced the songs that will be inducted into the National Recording Registry this year. Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy made the list, along with ABBA's Dancing Queen and Gene Autry's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. As you can probably tell, there wasn't a theme to the inductees this year. Prince William is going back to work this week. It's the first time he'll make a public appearance since his wife, the Princess of Wales, announced that she's fighting cancer. He'll be in West London on Thursday to recognize the work of community organizations. That's what's trending. I'm Jen Clark.
Hi, this is Jeff Smith with Alpha Graphics and Alpha Custom Apparel. We're the Lake's full-service, one-stop printer that can handle all of your printing, custom apparel, and promotional product needs. From business cards to business shirts and bandanas to brochures, we can make you and your business stand out. Our in-house design team can put your imagination on paper, apparel, and or social media. State-of-the-art printing equipment gives you the highest quality finished products with a quick turnaround time. We have the best printing prices in town and can meet all of your printed needs, including rack cards, posters, and full-size banners. Our printed products are produced locally and support the Lake area. Alpha Graphics and Alpha Custom Apparel is locally owned and operated in Osage Beach at 1140 Industrial Drive. Stop by and see us or give us a call at 348-5900 for a free quote. For all your printing needs, Alpha Graphics and Alpha Custom Apparel are here to help you increase your reach.
Happy campers get away with A-OK RVs. AOKRVs.com. RV sales, both new and used. Service parts and propane too. Family owned, no commission sales. The friendly people who really care. Go on and get away with A-OK RVs. AOKRVs.com. At the Lake of the Ozarks. AOKRVs.com.
If your nonprofit club, group, or civic organization has an event or message you would like to have announced on News Talk KRMS, send it at least 3 weeks in advance to psa@krmsradio.com. The community calendar is sponsored by Adair Roofing, RJ's Family Restaurant, Mills & Sons Insurance, Jeff Hedberg Realtor, and presented by News Talk KRMS.
It's coffee! We need coffee!
Have that first cup of coffee with all the information you need.
Better. Much better.
Talk with local Lake area newsmakers on the Morning Magazine, starting at 9. News Talk KRMS.
We're talking with Chase Elliott from Niangua's End, And he is one of the writers, directors, does just about everything out here looking for locations. And I would say also don't forget Hometown Boy as well, coming back to the area, producing this film and directing this film as well. We talked about locations. That's what you're in town for right now. And appreciate you coming in. I know it's a busy time for you. People, have you got everything cast? You've got everything laid out?
No, we're actually, so we have our casting director who I don't know if I can, like, say who it is yet, but
you can say
it. But yeah,
we'll keep it a secret.
He is the real deal. He's out of LA, and he's got a partner business partner out of New York, so handles kind of both areas, and he's done some truly incredible films and some of my favorite movies, and so I'm confident we're gonna have some pretty amazing actors in this, but that's the next step, is to start casting once we get the locations locked and everything. That's really, I think, where we'll go from there. So
how do you know somebody is? We all want these inspirational moments where the light from heaven comes down and hits them on the head, and you go, "That's the person." I'm not sure it always happens like that.
No, sometimes it does, though. You hear stories about a kid working, serving at a restaurant or something, and a producer sees them, and they're like, "Oh, hey, he'd be perfect for this role," and it is kind of like that. But no, it's finding people. For me, as a director, everyone has a different process, but for me, it's really finding people who understand and can relate to the character. That's the most important thing. With Bo, obviously he was a co-writer, so he understood Ollie more than anyone. So obviously, and he wrote that character with a lot of his self, in it, and so obviously he was perfect for that role. But then finding Owen, it really came down to finding someone who had, and it's not gonna be the same person. They're not gonna relate to them on every front, but finding someone who can, in some aspects, relate to the characters.
Same person that's in the short?
Yes.
Is he going to have that role?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Phoenix. Yep, Phoenix Buckner.
Who are some of your inspirations when it comes to filmmaking? Are there any filmmakers that you really kind of looked up to? Are there any particular films, maybe early before you ever decided that, hey, this is what I want to do as a career, and this is what I want to do with my life? Is there anything that really kind of inspired you artistically that maybe you draw upon even to this day?
Oh yeah. I mean, a bunch of films, a bunch of filmmakers. From a very young age, I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and so George Lucas was a big inspiration of mine. And Empire Strikes Back, the movie, it's one of my favorite movies
classic
of all time. And and like the story itself it's about a kid who's coming into something he's not ready for, and he gives it. He does it, and and so it's a very inspirational story about trying as hard as you can to do something. And so I love Empire Strikes Back. It's very inspirational. I love Rocky, another underdog story. Sylvester Stallone is a big inspiration of mine. Steven Spielberg. The list goes on and on with inspirations, and and there's a bunch of movies that I love. So
we're going to come back. We're going to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Morning Magazine. 73 degrees. We're going to get to 79 today. The rain is off and on. We're going to be right back.
Join Hope Lutheran Chapel every Sunday morning at 8:30 for a moment of hope on News Talk KRMS, AM 1150, FM 97.5, and FM 103.3. Reverend Guillaume Williams Sr. guides us through God's Word, inspires us, and delivers hope to our listeners. Set your clock at 8:30 Sunday mornings as Hope Lutheran Chapel presents A Moment of Hope. Hope Lutheran Chapel is located 2 miles west of the Grand Glaze Bridge and 1 mile east of KK and the 5700 block on the Osage Beach Parkway, right next to KRMS Radio.
Can the county outlaw puppies and then turn around and fine you if Fido actually has a few? What if they single out your particular breed of dog or cat for special restrictions? Can you stop them? I'm Curtis Howard. Together we'll explore these and other actual court cases and the decisions handed down by the judges. See if you agree.
Point of Law, weekday mornings at 7:35.
Point of Law is sponsored by the Law Office of Christopher Rohrer, located in the heart of Osage Beach.
That's going to do it for today. This 10 o'clock hour sponsored by Central Ozarks Medical Center. Committed to leading the way to healthier communities, medical clinics, telemedical, behavior health, and dental. You know, they got mobile units expanding into rural communities, offering women's health, pediatrics, chronic pain treatment, addiction treatment. You can find them online at centralozarks.org or call 877-406-COMC. Your health is their mission. Locations in Laurie, Osage Beach, Camdenton, Eldon, and Richland. Osage Beach Senior Center, they're going to have baked chicken leg today, rolls, sweet potatoes, meadow blend vegetables. Chase, when are we going to see the movie?
Yeah, so we're shooting in August, September time. As far as the release date, we don't have a release date yet, but I would say it would be early next year is an approximate date of when it would release. So.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to sitting in the theater. I know just like you are. We talked about it just a minute ago. It's going to be overwhelming.